Okay.
Okay, hi guys. Today we'll be having our first podcast series on our YouTube channel. So today we have Nathan. We also have Clement. We also have
Hello.
Gordon.
Hello.
Hi.
We also have Bobby and Phoon as the two lawyers here today, and
Hi guys.
myself.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay, so today we'll be talking about the CLP issues that are arising due to the lockdown caused by COVID-19. Several students and several issues have also popped up as of late due to the fact that there's unprecedented problems basically due to the unprecedented lockdown. So I want to hear from the law students. We can start maybe with Nathan. What would be the main cause of concern that you have in your mind right now?
10
Well,
seconds
as of
remaining.
now, because of the lockdown, everything is closed. So universities are closed, and pretty much
remaining.
everything is closed other than essential services were open. So as for us CLP students, we can't go to university, and ever since the lockdown, all learnings are conducted online, and since then we've been studying from home. So yeah, that's pretty much the main immediate thing that happened right after the MCO was implemented.
But you
Yeah,
do have
right.
classes,
So-
right? Do you?
Yeah,
Yep.
we do have classes. Just it's online classes, but at the same time, just because you hear the word online classes, you would think that it's essentially the same, but it's really different. Even the lecturers themselves tweak it specifically to make it more online friendly. It's hard to describe how is it without taking the class itself. But I would say it is definitely different in a way.
Right. And just to be clear, you guys are from BAC, right? All three of you.
Yeah.
Pun, you have something to say just now?
Prepare for
Yeah, I mean,
battle.
as much as different of the online classes is, how does it really affect each of your ability to learn up the topics and whatnot?
I think for me, I think online classes actually I feel like there's a bit more plus compared to physical classes. Like sure
Yeah,
it's
true.
it's sure it's definitely different. But being that the lecturers are giving live classes, it's recorded online, which I feel that is a plus for me. It's just that it's a matter of adapting, I guess. As with everyone else, including the ones that are working, how to shift everything that you're so used to physically
30 seconds to battle.
to everything online. So, like for example, in BAC classes, you have like a academic atmosphere ish, but in online classes, it's just pretty much you, your laptop, and your bedroom. So it can be a bit difficult to adjust at first, but pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think what Clement said was true, because in terms of physical classes, you actually had to like to set up the room and
The
everything.
battle
Whereas
begins.
if it's online classes, generally it's very convenient for them to do it, and they have actually been adding a lot more classes than usual compared to if they were to do physical classes. So I guess volume-wise, it's good for them. It did take it did take a while to adapt because we were so used to, I think at that point we were like 6 months or 7 months into CLP. So we were very much accustomed to physical classes. So when it first came online, we were all just it was difficult to adapt. But after a while, then yeah, it got a bit better.
I would say
Gordon, you want to add?
for me, it's personally like, of course, at start there was some logistical issues which was solved later on. That isn't a big issue right now. But it's just like Nathan said, it's just a big change of pace. Though. It's just you're having such a consistency for a while, and then you just randomly get switched on a very, very different way of studying.
Okay, and we have Pun here. Pun, what do you think, Pun? Because like, can you imagine yourself being in this situation where you have to online study? Do you think this would be hindrance?
I don't really think I can adapt to online studying. To be honest, I mean, though I'm quite well versed with computer and this and that, I just don't see how I can attend classes online and then still. Quick question. Do the lecturers still give you all like assignments and whatnot online?
So basically, how the online classes work is like they'll just conduct as though like their regular classes, and everything that's being done online is recorded and will be uploaded after a certain period of time. So in terms of like their style, they didn't really change that much. What can be different is that since the lecturers aren't actually physically in class, they can't actually really gauge the students as to like whether they are keeping up with the pace and everything. So sometimes they can go like ridiculously fast and like it will be really really hard to catch up. So there's just that one of the kind of the difficulties of online classes. Yeah, and also I think it's because
Assume that
like
you understand lah, unless there's like a big consensus in the Zoom chat. It's like, oh, everyone is fine. Everyone just raises their hand saying that they don't understand. Unless there's that, the lecturer just assumes that we understand.
yeah. And also to add on the point is like the CLP isn't just a regular exam. So if let's say you were to do an online class for a degree class, it's still okay because of the weight of the materials. But for CLP classes, because of the convenient nature of online classes, they have the ability to just cram in as much chapters as they can in one like a few sessions. Like for example, like we finish I think half of our evidence syllabus over like 3 days. So yeah, that was kind of hectic. Yeah, and it doesn't stop. Yeah, and then right now as revision comes in, it's just more classes and more classes. So it just takes like sometimes it's actually a lot more tiring to attend the online classes than physical classes, to be honest. So, yeah.
So technically, how many hours of online classes do you attend every day now?
The schedule is not fixed. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not fixed at all. So
it probably depends on the lecturer, I think.
Yeah, it depends on the lecturer as well.
For example, our evidence lecturer, she is very insistent on having a lot of classes.
Yeah, a lot of classes. Which, to be honest, at some point it is necessary because like if we don't have that classes, we just won't be able to finish the syllabus. And if we don't finish the syllabus, we can't sit for the exam. But yeah, I mean that's just that lah.
Right. I mean, at the rate of your lectures are going, so the lecturers are just preparing you all for the exam, even though they might have a possibility of postponing the exam lah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way they think of it is just like we teach it as though as this is a regular class and nothing changed yet.
Yeah, as though it's like we're still sitting for the initial planned exam date. That's the mentality lah.
Because
I
we
think
have no idea what to do next anyway.
I think to BAC's credit, I think they've been doing everything they can to make sure that, because it's very uncertain now, right? Because the LPQB has been postponed, not postponed, but like they have
never mentioned, bro.
For consensus wise, we can agree that it is postponed lah, but just when.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's no confirmation yet, because MCO, it looks like it's getting a turn for the better, and there's still a while until July or August. So like we don't have any idea what's going on now. BAC have no idea what's going on now. But I feel like in terms of BAC adjusting to the MCO wise, like online classes and recordings and whatnot, they're doing a pretty decent job so far.
Yeah, exactly. Credits.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
I have a question though. How long is the classes generally?
3 hours per session, and then they'll add another 3 hours in the afternoon if they can. They won't go beyond that.
Morning and afternoon.
Yes.
And then how many days you attend online classes?
For context, we've been attending every single day since Monday? Yeah. It's been every single day.
Yeah, 5 days a week, I would say is what you should expect.
Yeah. Sometimes it goes into the weekends as well. The whole weekend.
I see. What is the progress of the program now? Is it still at the lecture stage for some subjects, or everything is already in revision?
Like there are some subjects that were already done way before.
Yeah.
For example, like the first subjects that we finished was long ago, like criminal procedure. We were just like
drifting.
No. Oh no.
but other subjects that are like very bulky, we still haven't finished it.
Wind.
Yeah,
yes.
so
Right, yeah.
but
So
for
right
now
we
we
have-
finish evidence.
We have revision, we have lectures, and we have tutorial, right?
Yeah.
So revisions are the one that we have already done, lah. Then tutorial and lecture are the pending ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not standard that everything we are already in revision stage. It's not like that. It goes
it's not
by
like that.
it still goes by subject.
It still goes by the subject.
I
Yeah.
see.
And depending on the campuses also, not all of us are on the same speed. From what I'm aware. Lah.
Wait, I know that there's KL and PJ campuses. So
Yeah.
is the online classes being recorded to cater for all students, or there's a KL session and there's a PJ session?
So let's say for certain subjects, PJ is faster. For certain subjects, KL is faster. So
Yeah.
they will just proceed. Like let's say if KL is slower in one area, we will still have to listen to that subject, and then they will just go on to the pace where both campuses are equal lah, and level.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are pacing both up together lah.
Yeah. But for some subjects, right, I don't think KL is done with yet. Like I think bankruptcy or PP, they're not done yet. So it took them a while to catch up. Same with our evidence also, because we were way behind in evidence, so we had to catch up, and then the KRPs had to listen in also.
Sorry to cut you guys short. Sorry to cut you guys short. Just to, do you guys have any idea what's happening in the local universities on the other hand? Are they having the exams as usual, or are they having classes as usual? Have you guys heard anything from your friends?
Local university, I think they already switched to online classes. Some exams are cancelled, not all. One I'm aware. Yeah, that's it from my end, from what I know. And I don't really have that much of like local uni friends lah. So
I do have a friend that's in UITM.
Dyer's courier has been killed.
Mostly as well, and there are some
Yeah.
assignments for some of the classes.
Dyer's courier has been killed.
Missing
Your bottom tower is
So I
under
mean,
attack.
moving on forward now, what do you think the FPQD should do lah? I mean, maybe I can ask Bobby, because right now I believe the main concern of the law students is that
The time to prepare.
he has time to prepare and also consider
Okay, we all know.
social distancing.
Yeah, we all know that generally CLP exams happen in July or early August.
Yeah.
That's the norm for the past few years. So, looking at the current circumstances now, we cannot. I think as LPQB has themselves said, no one can ascertain whether the exam is going to go on in July or August as usual, because the government have also said things like social distancing and all. Personally, I wouldn't think that social distancing is a big issue if the exam were to be held in UM as usual. UM's exam hall is so big. I think Weera and Phoon, who has sat for the exam, can relate. The distance is definitely more than 1 meter. I mean, there's a 1 meter distance between each another. That's for sure. So the social distancing in the exam hall wouldn't be an issue. The issue would be the social distancing outside the exam hall before you can go into the hall. And the fact is that UM exam hall has very big car park issue, and there's no space for people to sit down and prepare properly without cramping with each another. So if they were to cater for social distance, if social distancing is the only factor to consider, perhaps they have to just so to speak get rid of the queuing outside, waiting outside the waiting time. Then exam could probably go on as usual. How do you guys think?
If you want to eliminate all the waiting time, then where do students wait actually before they?
I think I don't think it's too big of an issue. If the parking and the waiting spot is an issue, it might not be ideal, but then you can have like exams in patches. But Wait, that doesn't sound right.
No, I
Yeah.
I wish they would have exam in batches.
Yeah, I wish so.
For the amount that they do.
I think it's quite certain that will not happen lah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, if they do the exam in batches, I mean, it will save a lot of hassle on the COVID thingy, but it doesn't eliminate the possibility of the paper or the question is being leaked out.
No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's not an option. My mind is like in two places at once, so like it's not fully filtering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you guys suggest on what's the feasibility of an online test instead?
Yeah, cause from what we heard, I mean, Bobby made a valid point. Like does have the space to social distance, but the problem is the measures that you have to implement before you go into the exam hall. So that's kind of an issue. So apparently, Mr. Raja was discussing with the director of the RPQB, and they apparently BAC has suggested some alternative measures towards the exam, but we don't know what it is and we don't know what actions RPQB would take. So one of it involved the possibility of like a take-home exam or an online exam, which I think it's unlikely lah, because with an online exam, like the possibility of the papers being leaked or discussion is like so high. So I really don't think I don't really think there will be an online exam lah, but it's LPQB, so I don't know. Anything can happen.
Oh really? LPQB is very unexpected, is it?
I think so lah. That's what I heard.
They are unexpected.
Yeah.
Like the
So-
thing is like, if you do online exam, I would say it is possible depending on what kind of questions that you do. Like right now we're having a modern problem basically. Like people always say modern problems requires a modern solution.
Solutions, yeah.
Solution. So what do we do? Like how do we make sure that if we set the question itself that is possible to be difficult, but at the same time they know who our students will discuss at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just difficult.
Okay, what if the exam is to be conducted in batches but at different locations at the same time?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to ask as well.
Whether
Yeah.
So like basically like our local exams like A-levels, actually A-levels is
Yeah.
a local exam, but like
Yeah,
SPM,
correct.
H3 and UPSR, something like that.
Yep.
That is
But the thing
doable,
is,
but at the same time,
even
like
That means
LPQB
multiple exam centers lah, I would say.
The CLP exam is not exactly big compared to like all those local national
Yeah.
exams.
I think only probably a few center would do instead of the multiple schools here and there.
No, CLP thus far has always been one exam center base.
Yep.
Yes,
It's
UM.
the big event in the stretch of 2 weeks. So to break it down into smaller events can actually enhance the so-called big issue of social distancing, isn't it? Take for example, let's say UM can still accommodate for 800 people instead of the usual 2,000. Then 800 people sits in UM, and then some can go to UKM, some can go to let's say UITM and so forth.
Possible, but
Yeah, that sounds possible.
yeah.
Yeah,
But then
would you
the
guys
logistics of that though, like having to invigilate multiple locations at once. That's the thing. Whether-
Yeah,
You can split it easily.
it just sounds like more like a resources issue, but it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
it's not feasible if you get.
Yeah.
okay. So Phoon and myself and Bobby last time all of us met at the same hall. All of us were at the same hall. So it was a very big hall. So there's no issue of social distancing, but like Bobby had correctly pointed out, it is the issue would arise when the waiting area. So
Or after the
I think
exam.
or after the exam exactly.
Are fortified.
I think after wouldn't be a big issue. They can release batch by batch. You see, this these 10 rows can go out first, and then after 10 minutes, the next 10 rows can go out.
Yeah, that happening before for exams before. So
That's not a big issue. It's before going in that's the issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
What update?
I myself am thinking, do I really want to be around that many people even though I'm 1 meter apart from them?
Yeah.
You still fear the risk of getting contracted lah.
I'm just thinking, do I really want to? And I'm sure it's
The
like
enemy's
perfectly
bottom tower
reasonable.
has fallen.
Some people would think that I'm worried over nothing.
Dire's structures are fortified.
I would say if the exam is postponed, say like end of the year maybe, probably the risk will be way lower than it will be at like
The
say around
enemy's
July
top
or
tower
August.
has fallen.
Yeah, but that long end of the year.
I mean, just an example lah. I mean, not July lah. That's my
Yeah.
point.
True.
That's not
Because-
impossible, but assuming the exam were to go on, are you guys prepared for the exam?
To be dragged until so long, is it?
I think what I'm thinking right now is that is there any such did the students have such a big disadvantage that they cannot get any
That they are prejudiced.
they're prejudiced and the second question is that is it safe if we were to hold the exam? So in my mind I do not think that I mean, I can't speak for like other centers such as like ATC or syllabus or anywhere else that have a CLP course. But BAC wise, I don't think that the students are in such a bad position. So my only concern now will be on whether is it safe to be able to hold if you hold an exam say around July or August, because social distancing or not, there will be at least a few hundred students. And nobody can tell where those 300 students go before that lah. So yeah, if I'm making sense.
That's very true, but you guys will also have to know that the fact that if you guys were to delay your exams, then everything else will be delayed.
Yeah, that's
Results will
true.
be delayed.
Yeah.
People should be delayed.
Yeah. But I think it's just prolonged for a reasonable period of time. Like I think end of the year is just way too long already. Like you said, like you just affect everything, like delay in pupillage, delay in release of results, delays in the B seats also. So I don't think that it will delay until that long. Like because LPQB is aware that our learning is affected through all these online studies and everything. So they will somehow arrange the days accordingly lah. I believe so lah. So that's that. But I think Clement also made a good point that we are not in such a bad position to the point that we are like not ready to face the exam, because BC did quite a good job in actually like guiding us and like telling, like keeping us calm like basically in the midst of everything. So yeah, that's that. And there's nothing much we can do right now aside like to study and prepare for the exams anyway. So like granted there's the opportunity to granted there's an opportunity to like the motivation level or the drive to study is dropped a little bit lah, but that's just that like it's only natural, like it happens.
The momentum is not there. You don't see that. You don't see the lecturers. You don't feel the tense feeling.
Exactly. That's the kind of the drawback of attending online classes lah, because you don't see the lecturers, you don't feel the tension when you go to class, or like the kanchongness and stuff like that. So
they can't sound you when you can't answer questions.
yeah,
and
they
you
can't
feel
like
bad.
they can't like cold call you and be like, oh, what's this, what's that, oh, now you don't know how to answer. You can't do that because like you're in an online class. So there's just that lah. That's kind of like the main difference lah. I think just the lack of physical interactions with the lecturers lah.
Yeah, correct. That's a big issue because like you guys have earlier pointed out as well. The lecturers couldn't gauge if you guys actually understand things or not.
Yeah, because the way how all online lectures are conducted through Zoom, and the way Zoom works is that there's a chat function, there's a Q&A function. So not all lecturers enable the chat function. Not all lecturers actually enable the Q&A function as well. And sometimes the Q&A function just like spoils for some reason. So without that, they really cannot gauge how we are doing. So they're just When they can do the Q&A, it's okay lah. But if they couldn't do the Q&A, it's just like blind lah.
Yeah.
Particular reasons, no? I mean, like, why do they disable this?
Connectivity issues and technical issues lah. It just happens lah. So yeah. When you go online, it's bound to happen lah. It's not all paid and roses.
I mean, like, how confident are you guys to pass? I mean, like, assuming that
That's a very subjective question, bro. Even without the
To be honest, yeah. I mean, right now,
No, I think it's a very easy thing to decide. You see, all you have to do would be to take a set of paper out. Let's, assuming you are going to sit for the 2016 exam or the 2017 exam, I think 2017 exam will be fun. Just pull the papers out. You guys have the past years, or you can download from the website and just see if you can do it. You don't have to write it out. Sometimes I think my way of studying would be I will look at the questions and I will identify the issues and the topics.
Yeah, I mean that one we can do lah, but like in terms of like doing that under exam conditions and writing out everything perfectly, yeah.
I think to me, I'm not sure about you guys. To me, this may be a tip for some of you, might not be applicable to the rest of you, but what I usually think is that I break exams like CLP down into two parts. One is to identify the issue, understand what is it about, and provide solutions. Another would be to write it out within 3 hours.
Right.
I think these two are not quite. They are interrelated for sure, but I think they can be separated to a certain extent.
True.
What I usually do back then would be, I'm a very big IKEA fan. So from BAC PJ to IKEA is not that far, right? You go to Sprint Highway all the way to the end, you are at IKEA. And we all know IKEA has a queue at the cafeteria area. So what I usually do would be I will hold my Q&A. I will select a year, a subject. I will hold a Q&A with a pencil with my friends. So I will just look at the questions and start ticking the things or write the chapter at the side, and I will not write everything out. I will look at the issue, I will circle the issue without writing things because after all we are standing, right? But I will run through everything in my brain.
right?
So what I'm actually doing the exam minus writing it out. And the writing it out part, yes, it is tough, but we all have gone through 3 years of law school, right? It's not that big a difference. Time control is still the same thing from LLB to CLP, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, true.
If you have too many things to write, you will have to control your time. You have to cut when you have to cut. You have to let go when you have to let go, because we all know that because you will need to know how to control that yourself. But the difference of CLP and LLB will be on the questions, because to be frank, a friend of mine actually, which happens to be the classmates of you guys, have shown me a question from last year's paper, and when I look at it, even now I don't know how to do the question.
No.
Yes, because it doesn't quite make sense to me.
Right.
So of course I look at the question, I can think like, it's probably like this, not like that. But I couldn't speak for sure. So that's the problem. I think if you cannot think about the issue, if you cannot generate the answer when you are looking at it, the same is bound to happen when you are writing it out. So
Yeah, true.
yeah.
I guess for us, like subject matter wise, like we are getting there, but it's just the speed lah. Like that's the thing we're like really, really, not to say struggling and not to say we're not confident, but we don't want to be too overconfident also. So yeah. which is something like over time and over practice, you get the hang of it, lah.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
I'll bury you.
One point I want to bring out is because Phoon and also Bobby has worked throughout the CLP period. Before sitting for CLP, they have working experience, lah, basically. So unlike me,
Okay, to be fair, Weera, let me just correct that. I did not work throughout. I worked until December.
yeah, okay, you work until this.
Yeah, that's all. After all, Kiasu, from January onwards.
Okay, so I mean, like, do you guys think that working in any law firms or experience working in law firms or could help in this? I mean,
let the seniors answer first.
yeah,
Want to see what they answer.
especially Phoon and Bobby.
okay.
The enemy's bottom
To a certain
tower has
extent, it
fallen.
does help, like, because for civil procedure and professional papers, you need to know how does it apply. Yes, you
Right.
may know how it does in theory, but how does it really works? You won't know it unless you actually practice it. So it's actually good idea if you want to take up a job as an attachment student in any of the law firms, but depending on how long you want to do it, it can be 2 months, 3 months, it can be 6 months, or it could be depending on you actually, and what is your preference.
Nice one.
But it technically it doesn't really matter that much. It only gives you a certain age on how to understand the things better.
Right.
Other than that, that's nothing more than that.
So you would say like a person that have not gone through any internships or whatsoever is not as a
Dyer's
They're not put in such a bad state lah, compared to
Yeah, it doesn't. Because once you complete CLP during applying for privilege position, it does give a little bit of extra brownie points,
Right.
because some master may want people that already have some certain background.
Right.
That would be easier to teach, but generally it's fine.
Your top tower is under attack.
how about the rest?
I agree with what Phoon has said. I think I would say like the students who have taken up an attachment position at the time where they are a CLP student, I will say that they are at the advantage instead of saying that the rest are at a disadvantage, because they can relate to the matters. Me personally, I could always remember that I had this lecture in BAC over the weekend. I was a part-time student. Over the weekend, I had this lecture at BAC. Mr. Sudev was teaching about amendments of pleadings, and on the next Monday, I went to office and my boss literally asked me to do the same thing.
wow.
So I'm actually putting things into application. Right? I know that I have to say these are the law. These are the requirements that I have to fulfill. And although I'm drafting the affidavit, it was very badly drafted. After all, I was just a student, right? And the first piece of work is always bad. We all know that.
Yeah.
But I could always remember the principle and the application. And when it comes out in the exam, I can't remember if it did came out, but if it were to come out, then I will be extremely confident because
The enemy's bottom
I've
tower
learned it,
has
I've
fallen.
done it, and I know how to apply it. And in fact, my application, when your bosses ask you questions, you will submit back to your bosses, you will reword with your research, and if he actually agrees with what you have said and consider with your analysis, then I think you will always remember that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage that I'm talking about.
The enemy's top tower has
Right.
fallen.
Yeah.
I guess it would be easier for you as well if you have like some working experience to like go through like the statement of claim, how to draft it, the problems with it and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can analyze the issues better. And this would also, of course, bring brownie points when you go for interview for privilege, like what Phoon said. In addition to that, your first drafting in Pupil Age would be made easier
Right.
because you start to spot issues already, and you can portray how is the case going to come out like afterwards. And in exams, you guys also have a situation where you have to say that you try to do this but actually you can't. So if you could have this thought on your mind that you can be the devil's advocate and try to argue with yourself, and in that sense it preps you for exam, because you might be faced with a question that says instead of all yes, you might have to say no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. So it's a very practical mindset, and it prepares you for the CLP exam, which almost everyone have said it's a practical paper, not a theoretical paper.
The enemy's top barracks is falling. You now
Yeah.
have mega creeps.
I guess for me, like, it did help. So I actually, before when I started CLP, I interned in 2 firms, one big, one small. And I remember the chapters on amendment quite clearly because during my internship, I had this one file which was very weird. It had 4 interlocutory applications. So one of it was an amendment. So yeah, so literally I already researched and I knew, like, when the case came out, I was just like, oh dang, that's exactly what I did during my internship. And I texted my then mentor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, now you understand." I was like, "Yeah." So that kind, I think when you've done it once and you see it again, and especially if you had some experiences with it, it tends to stick in your mind a little bit better, as compared to like when you're just reading it for the first time and be like, "Oh, statement or claim." But if you actually drafted it, then it has a very strong impression on you, which helps you to remember naturally, which I think it's a plus point if you're doing the CLP exams where you just don't want to memorize for the sake of memorizing, then yeah, it wouldn't do anyone any good.
Like,
Yeah.
to me personally, like, it's just, even though like obviously the CLP exam itself is difficult, like I don't think any one of us is complaining the fact that, oh, just because we have this virus thingy, we can't do the exam anymore. We should still do it depending on when it comes out. But the main thing is still, the first thing we should deal with is, other than the obvious education side itself, is the virus situation itself, I would say.
Yeah, true. Because for me, the thing is that even if the MCO is lifted, say by July, there are so many conditions that LPQB has to follow following the exam. So inevitably, the exams will be affected in one way or another, logistically wise, and the dates and how they're going to do it out. So in a sense, it's a new normal for them as well, because the upcoming CLP exams won't be as how it is for like the past few years. But the thing is that with that, it's a new change, and if I'm not mistaken, every single time when the new CLP exam rolls out, there's always some change that goes with it, like the mandatory exam question, or like something new, basically.
The increase in fees.
Yeah, the increase in fees, or it's always something new that comes out. Seriously.
I think
yeah.
Basically what LPQB biggest announcement and change that they made since a couple of years back is the 4 limit tries, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because personally, one of our friend, I and Weera's friend in ATC actually did not make it even after the 4th try. So
yeah,
there's no way of appealing about it. So
yeah, I've actually met one
pretty
friend
much-
also, who's actually in his 4th try right now. So it does get quite sober when you talk about it. So it's kind of pitiful because you can't really do much about it. But you know the fact that if he doesn't make it past the 4th try, then that's it, like done. There's no way he can do it again already. So that's that. I think for the changes here, LPQB has made this year is we are actually not allowed to bring in our statute book this year. Like they will
is it?
Yes, that's, I tell you, new changes, right?
I thought
We're not allowed to bring in our own statute book.
They're providing
So,
it for us.
They are providing it for us. So as a result of that, there's a fee increase. And on top of that, who knows how the exam is going to be held. And there's going to be a new exam date, likely. So there's just a lot of changes that comes with it. So as a CLP student also, you try to maintain your cool, you try to just, do your stuff and do your studies, but it's just that.
I think
yeah.
sorry, continue.
Uh, but I think at the end of the day, it's like whenever someone signs up for CLP, they know what's at stake and what's the effect of taking the exams. So I guess like if you already made up your mind to do your CLP, you shouldn't complain to the fact with all these challenges that comes with CLP. You kind of just accept that and just do it.
I think
Yeah.
probably
Okay,
a
guys,
good. Yeah, sorry.
Sure. You wanna finish what
Uh,
you're saying first?
Probably a good thing would be like since like Hong Yang pointed out there are so many uncertainties right now. I think probably a good move would be more clarity and explanation by
By
LPQB.
LPQB, yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
it's not going to be the same. So
Yeah.
probably LPQB can explain
Yeah.
what they are going to do and what we are going to expect.
Yeah.
Probably they can, or if that's, or the institutions can relate that to us as well. Probably
Yeah.
that would be a good idea.
Because right now, aside from that one announcement they make where they say that they can't really decide on the exam date until the MCO is lifted. Yeah, they haven't been able to, they haven't say anything yet. So yeah, something that comes up and anything that indicates like what we can expect over the next coming months would be good for us. Like this helps us to calm our mind a little bit.
Yeah,
Else
which
we're
I'm pretty
just
sure
like,
they will.
yeah, I'm sure they will. Like, yeah.
The game just froze on me, like the recording is fine, but I'm just gonna
Yeah.
temporarily pause the recording here.
Sure.
If you want, currently paused, so
Questions.
Yeah, if
we'll
any.
go back.
Mm,
In that case,
I don't really have much lah, to be honest.
you don't have much.
I have one.
Okay.
So
Oh,
right,
wait, I got it.
I think it would be more fun if you guys were to just say that, who is going to answer the question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah.
three of us might, be stuck.
Right.
We don't know who's going to go first, you see.
Yeah. I think my question is for three of you guys. Like whoever have. Wait, is the recording paused or?
no, it's currently playing.
Oh, okay. So I think the question is for three of you. Whoever have an answer, because it's safe to say that CLP or degree is like nothing like the real thing, right? But CLP is closer, I would say, to practicing lawyer than a degree. So do you think, because there are a lot of CLP students that are still wondering whether should I practice after my CLP if I pass and stuff like that? So how would you say that is CLP a good how to say benchmark to see whether the practicing law life is suitable for you or not? Because you kind of get how the system kind of works, or is there something else that the CLP students should like consider in more factors, I would say.
Maybe Poon can answer first.
Right. So, well, I think technically, my point, my opinion is that it is true that CLP is much more closer than degree, but it is still by far from actual practice. To be honest, when all of us when we started practice, I believe Weera and Bobby can relate. Some of the things that we learn in theory doesn't really apply like how it's supposed to be in practice. Like certain things that added some admin stuff, administration steps here and there. It's not stated in your theories or whatever books that you have. So it's actually when you're practicing, it's more or less try and error. Of course, doing and passing CLP is your fundamental base, or at least your foundation of practice. But when you actually practice, it is just widespread. Yeah, that's my take on it.
What's your like biggest change that you have to adapt to from CLP to practice, if you can recall any?
Right, biggest change. Okay, so during when you're studying, right, you will have a certain set of principles that you have in mind. Like let's say that you're not gonna do certain things, this and that. You follow everything black and white and follow the rules and everything. But when in practice, sometimes you might need to bend a little bit to do certain things for your client or for your master or your boss. So don't be discouraged or disheartened by that.
Right.
If you feel like not comfortable doing it, just let your boss or your master. Don't just keep quiet and do it, and then thinking that everything is fine and this and that is just part and parcel of the work. It doesn't, because in the long run, it actually affects you.
I see.
Could I ask a
Yeah.
follow-up to that answer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, follow
So
follow up to the answer. Yeah, who's talking right now?
Gordon.
Bobby, is it?
No, got it. Weera, you can go first.
Okay.
Yeah, since he has started, right?
Oh, never mind. Should be. I mean,
Yeah.
I think adding on to Poon's situation is that adapting to the change. I think me and Bobby, I've seen Bobby a lot of times in court every now and then, except this year lah, of course, due to the MCO. and
Okay.
all.
I used to see Weera every Friday for 14 days.
Now breathe in.
Yeah, so the point is whatever you learn in CLP is actually quite different in practice. I mean, like what you do in practice, you don't learn much in CLP classes. How to deal with the registrars, how to address the court, all these practical skills which are usually available in BPTC courses. Okay, I say that with a disclaimer. I mean, of course, CLP students would have an upper hand as compared to BPTC students in the aspect of understanding local laws. But advocacy-wise is another issue, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Bobby would have much to say about advocacy on this issue.
Advocacy, I think, okay, as a pupil, the biggest advocacy, so to speak, issue would, or not really advocacy, will be on the communication part of it, the communication chain of it. If you are doing litigation, I think, I mean, I'm a litigator throughout my practice since a pupil. I know nothing about conveyancing. I know nothing about corporates. So, from my point of view, because my firm practices banking law, so we have a lot of dispute resolutions here and there, and dispute cases here and there where we try to recover default loans. So, because there's many cases, pupils get thrown to court to attend CMs, case managements. That's where the part comes. You may have your opponent. How are you going to deal with them? Of course, there are nasty opponents. As everyone knows, pupil may get bullied, but I've seen more lawyers who treat pupils with respect.
Right.
They don't take advantage of you. However, you have to always be prepared for those that take advantage of you. And how to deal with the registrars. There might be registrars and magistrates. Because as a pupil, you can only appear before registrars, magistrates, and high court judges in chambers, which I think your bosses might be a little bit not comfortable to let you go before a high court judge in chambers on your own as a pupil. But this is what you can do as a pupil. When you talk to magistrates and registrars, how are you supposed to talk? How are you supposed to conduct yourself? How are you supposed to persuade things and get things your way? How are you going to change what they think? How are you going to present your case when you have something to present? How are you going to ask for an extension of time from the court, even though your opponent might not be making noise? These are the things that you guys will never learn in CLP.
Yeah, true.
I think CLP pretty much prepares students for the law, the procedural law. When you come into practice, you will know how to declare an injunction, interim injunction, ex parte, and then inter parte. You will know that very well. But that's only the law part of it. The communication part, the presentation part is the thing that you have to pick it up when you are a pupil eventually. So, while it's very close, but I think the role of CLP and pupillage are extremely different. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We just conclude this session first for today. So, is there any parting words you would like to give to Nathan, Clement, and Gordon? We can start with Phoon. Is there any advice in 20 seconds you can give to Gordon and Nathan and Clement? Phoon?
Right.
Are you there, Phoon? Yeah.
I would say that just be prepared for CL. Just do as much as you think you can. There's no such thing as over prepared and under prepared. There's only prepared or not prepared. So exam is fine. Just do your best and see how it goes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So,
Yeah,
Bobby,
thanks.
do you have anything?
Yeah, I agree. You can't change the things that you can't have a say on.
Yeah.
All you can do is just to prepare yourself, and if the exam were to come next month and you are ready for it, you will be ready for it if it were to come 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
So get that done and over with, and join us at the bar.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, I mean, I have only one word, one sentence. Oh no, sorry, one phrase to say lah. My evidence lecturer back then, who is now a high court judge, used
Wow.
to say this. She used to say
She
this.
cursed us, dude.
What does she say?
She said, expect the worst, hope for the best.
Right.
So I think that is what you guys should be doing. Just study as usual. Just keep on studying. But then hopefully along the way, as what we have suggested, we will have a probably longer time for you guys to study, maybe, hopefully.
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 Hope for the best.
I think the mental aspect of it, just to be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's one interesting thing is that I didn't really expect the MCO to be extended for this long, though, to be honest. Like, it really caught me by surprise that they extended, I think, like, by the third time already. So, yeah. Fourth time already. So it's just like, okay, that's a bit longer than I initially expected.
2 months in a sense for us.
Yeah.
Right.
And likely more.
Yeah. So that's just that.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna end this session today. Thanks again
Awesome.
to Bobby. Thanks
Thank
again to
you.
Phoon. Thanks again to Nathan. Thanks
Thank
again to
you.
Clement
Thank
and Gordon,
you.
especially. Hopefully, we can do this more in the future, probably even in a better setup. This is our first time, so please apologize to us if there's any shortcomings. We'll try to improve as we go along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do now is we're gonna proceed with an overthrow game. But the viewers probably wouldn't be able to see this.
Are
At
we
the end of the
recording this? No, right?
No, sure.
No.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So thank you, guys.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
See you.